Hello and welcome, and thanks for stopping by the channel. Today we're going to be working with a new die set that I got off of HSN during the March 2nd craft day. It's called the Anna Griffin Oblong 3D Concentric Frame Dies, and this is a really beautiful set that gives you an amazing amount of detail in the die because it cuts and embosses and engraves. So it's a new technology that Anna Griffin is using in her dies, so it creates this really pretty etching that happens, and it really gives this super pretty lacy effect. So there are 5 dies in this set, and they are starting, the biggest one is 5x7, so it will create a 5x7 card, and you can use these dies in your regular size Empress plates, and in the smaller dies you can use in the mini Empress plates for also. So what we're going to do is we're going to get started making our card. And I do want to say stick around to the end of the video because my sister made a version of this card that I want to show you guys at the end. So I'm going to be using my small Anna Griffin plates, and the sandwich that I'm using is the clear cutting plate, the metal shim, the magnetic shim, and then a 5x7 card base that I'm using to cut with my large die, and then the clear cutting plate on top, and I'm going to run that through the Empress machine. This is going to give us the front of our card. I then cut out 3 more pieces of the exact same die, one out of Ivory cardstock and one out of gold foil cardstock, to create the layers of our card base. So this is a top folding card, and I need to score the tops of all of the layers at the 5/8 score mark so that I can connect them at the top. Now that we have all of the layers of our card scored at the 5/8 score mark, I'm going to adhere the gold foil cardstock to the card front to create the front of the card, and I'm offsetting that gold piece on that piece of the card. Now this is optional because you will be able to see the layer through when you open the card. So now what we're going to do is take our card front and adhere it to the card back using some glue. Using the glue method does take a little bit longer to dry, so you will have to set your project aside for a minute while it sets up and dries to each other. But once we're finished and it is all dry, you will have your card base. Now just take your bone folder and secure those score lines, or reinforce those score lines on the inside of the card. And now you can see what the card looks like, and you can see the card base and how the offsetting, you can see it a little bit but not very much, and now it's a top folding card that stands up on its own. I'm now going to cut out another element using the middle size die from the Oblong die set. I'm cutting out, the cardstock I'm using is the Anna Griffin teacup cardstock. I'm using the small Empress plates, taking out my squishy mat that wasn't supposed to be in there, and running this through the Empress machine. Off camera, I did take a piece of gold foil cardstock and cut out the same shape with that die also. And now I'm going to offset these two die cuts just like I did on the card base. I really love this technique because it just allows that little bit of gold foil to peek through, giving this a lot of dimension that is unexpected. I'm gonna pop this up on with foam squares, and I'm gonna place this on the card front. Oh my gosh, this is so gorgeous. I also cut out an oval die cut using a die from another set. You can use any layering dies you may already have on hand. And I popped that up on foam tape also, and with foam pads, and just added that to the center of the oblong die cut. Okay, so I am going to be doing some stamping. Not something I really delve into, but I have the Anna Griffin Treasury of stamps and dies. So I'm going to be using the rabbit that came in that set. Also, as a separate purchase, it came with some inks and embossing powders. So I'm going to use the pink ink and for the top of the rabbit, and the green ink for the bottom, because there's he's like sitting in some grass. So I thought, grass, green, yes, to stamp this. I'm stamping this on white ivory cardstock using the Tim Holtz stamping platform. He is super cute, and he came out better than I thought he would. So now I'm going to take the coordinating embossing powders that came also as part of the Treasury set. They were a separate purchase, but I'm going to emboss the top of the rabbit, or add the pink embossing powder to the top of the rabbit, and then pour that back into the container so we don't lose any of the powder. And then add the green embossing powder to the bottom of the rabbit. And then pour that back into the container. And the names of these embossing powders are Antique Pink and Happy Green. So if you wanted to go see if you can still find them, you might could look on her website, Antique Pink and Happy Green. Okay, so now we're going to run our heat gun over the top of the embossing powder to melt it. One of my favorite things to watch is the powder melting when the heat gun heats it all up and it starts to melt. So we're just going to do that, and our rabbit will be ready to cut out. The Anna Griffin Treasury comes with coordinating dies to cut out your stamps. It also comes with dies that cut out the shadow layer. So I'm going to line up the die that coordinates with the stamp, and then I'm going to use a gold foil cardstock as my shadow layer cardstock, and I'm going to cut that out at the same time using the mini Empress plates, which go in the big Empress, which is awesome. I put all of my plates in the big Empress, and I love that. Now we have our pieces, and we want to glue them together. I preferred to just glue it straight onto the gold foil cardstock, you can mount it up on foam. This card is already going to be pretty high stacking and probably need its own box envelope. So I omitted putting that one on with foam tape. I do not know why I keep calling it foam tape. Foam pads, foam squares. If I say foam tape, ignore me. I don't know why I keep saying that. So I cut out the sentiment layer of the Oblong die set twice, once out of gold foil once again, and once out of Ivory cardstock. I cut the gold foil layer in half, and I'm going to do that same offset technique with the Ivory cardstock and the gold foil. This layer is going to have foam squares on the back of it because I am going to put flowers behind it, and I needed the dimension to tuck the flowers in the back. So now that we have pretty much everything cut out, all we have to do is add our embellishments. So I'm just going to let the music play. We're going to add our embellishments, and I'll come back when the card is all finished. And here is our finished card. It is so pretty. I just love it. It stands up on its own. The inside is really pretty and clean. You can add embellishments and decorate it. And you can add a stamp to the back that says handmade by me if you like. So if you like this video, please share it with a friend. Like, comment, and subscribe. And here is my sister's card that she made. Hope you enjoy it. Bye.